Good evening. This side, Rahul Magan here is a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting. Today, I'm launching one more video course for our subscribers. And in this video course, I would be sharing about my experience and expertise and know-how about the treasury function of a bank. Ladies and gentlemen, we all aware about that treasury function is predominantly of two types. Number one, the treasury function of a bank. Number two, treasury function of a corporate. When we speak about treasury function of a bank, then we need to understand that banks are of many types. We have a big bank like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citi. We have small banks also. Having said that, the treasury function of all the banks are completely different from each other. They are not same. But having said that, when we speak about big banks, then the level of complexity of the treasury function of big banks is much more than the smaller banks. Because if I speak about Goldman Sachs, then Goldman Sachs is operating across the globe. They have their non-deliverable desk. They are taking care of different type of derivative positions. If we look at the 10K of Goldman Sachs, they are holding trillions of derivative book. The MTM of a trillions dollar derivative book would be huge. Even a basis point increase is sufficient to have a substantial impact on EPS and so on and so forth. Henceforth, I decided to create a course on the treasury function. Now, let me study the course video. First of all, this course would be a video course, which means that if you subscribe this course, we would be uploading this course on your Google Drive. So what you need to do, you need to create a Google ID. If you create the Google ID, we will upload the course on your Google ID. More importantly, remember that immediately once we upload the course on the Google ID, you are requested to change the password of that Google ID. Please take a note of that. You are requested to change the password of that Google ID. This course would be of 80 minutes. 60 minutes, the basic code, the course, and 20 minutes is a special package which we are adding in this course. I have decided that there would be 4 videos of 16 minutes, which means 64 minutes something. More importantly, plus 20 minutes of conclusion and a special package, near about 84 to 90 minutes of the course. The price of the course which we agreed is 1,500 rupees, 1500, plus 50 rupees, 50 is the uploading charges and the 1 hour of virtual conference which we would be doing after the course. Now, what the course is all about. Part 1, we would be covering what is treasury function and how it works in a big bank. We all understand that the treasury function varies from bank to bank. It is up to the complexity of the bank which determines the scale and size of the treasury department. There are banks in the world who are operating almost everywhere. There are banks in the world who are restricted to a particular country. There are banks in the world who are dependent on the top banks when it comes to Nostro and Vostro transactions, which technically speaking is also termed as correspondent banking. Henceforth, we have all kind of banks in the world. But in this, when I speak about part 1, what is treasury function and how it works in a big bank, I would be giving examples of the top banks of the world, how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone born to work in a top bank. But having said that, when there is a requirement in a top bank, they need a specialized talent also. That specialized talent is really very, very tough to find for these banks. And this is one of the reasons why the top banks are paying very good to their treasury function. Millions of dollars of bonuses, special perks, because the kind of talent they are enjoying, it is hard to find. But this talent is having a significant meaning, and that is nothing but the learning and the knowledge. Part 2. Why is Treasury front office is considered as important as compared to mid office? We all understand that Treasury function is divided into 3 parts, theoretically. Number 1, front office department, middle office department, and back office department. Thanks to the artificial intelligence, all manual jobs are moving towards artificial intelligence. If you please open the Google, today itself, you will see that banks are cutting jobs. The high-end designatory officers of respective bank, they are giving warning shots to their employee that either perform or perish. I may not be surprised that in the next 3 to 4 years, because of the huge deployment of the artificial intelligence models, the upgradation of the technology, we may see a substantial job cuts in the banking sector. Because one thing which is definitely sure, and we need to agree, is that the banks are deploying substantial amount of money in terms of technological upgradation. Because they clearly understand that if we are not technologically upgraded, then we would be facing the severe mess. And when you're upgrading yourself technologically, it's a common sense that the redundant jobs are supposed to cut. Henceforth, in this part, which is part 2, I'm covering only the front office and the middle office. In this part 2, I'm not covering back office. In part 2, we are covering one more thing, which is what all covered in the front office. Technically speaking, or as a bird eye view, we are having FICC. By FICC, I mean fixed income, currencies, and commodities. This looks very rosy. This looks very fancy that, oh, it is very simple. Fixed income, currencies, and commodities. But when I speak about big banks, hedge funds, and all top financial institutions, then even fixed income, which is FI component himself is difficult to understand. And when I speak about currencies, then it's a universe, because they're covering direct pairs, indirect pairs, crosses, non-deliverable pair. They're taking spreads in non-deliverable non-deliverable currencies. One side taking the option, one side taking the forward. They're playing a spread and whatnot. Henceforth, in part 2, what we would be covering jointly is that why Treasury front office is considered as important as to middle office. Middle office having its own importance. And then we would be covering what all covered in the Treasury front office. I'm again repeating, in this, I would be covering front office from the angle of the top banks. So please understand that the corporate level people, the corporates, may or might not have the level of exposure which the top banks are holding. Please do take a note of that. Part number 3, and very important, what all instruments covered in treasury function of a bank, especially top G7 banks. Here we are going little granular, and we would be talking about the instruments also. That what all instruments they are covering, like forward, options, vanilla option, synthetic structures, credit default swap, tick, 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 tick. I would be covering all the instruments. Since this is a beginner course, don't expect me to explain each and every instrument in a thorough manner. Because for that, we are having video courses, one-to-one online courses. And these courses are already uploaded on our fixed income platform. Which means that when it comes to the hardcore understanding of these instruments, then we are having one-to-one courses. But when it comes to the bird eye view, what is the treasury function of a bank, how it works, and so on and so forth, then we are having this course. Please do take a note of that. I further repeat, do not expect me to cover each and every instrument in detail. Please take a note of that. Fourth and very important is what is NDF trading and why big banks depend on the same. Not many people understand non-deliverable forward. Not many people understand that. In fact, many people believe that non-deliverable trading is all about non-deliverable forward. Non-deliverable trading ends at non-deliverable forward. There is nothing more than that. No, they're absolutely incorrect, because non-deliverable trading is very, very big. And it is getting bigger thanks to RFRs. By RFRs, I mean risk-free rate, just like SOFR, SONIA, ESTR, and so on and so forth. After June 2023, when the LIBOR phased out, the IR structure, the interest rate structure of all non-deliverable currencies, it has amended. But that's a separate thing that our beloved media, international media, not highlighted this. Because this requires a humongous quantity of technical knowledge. Henceforth, ladies and gentlemen, in this part, which is part 4, I would be covering what is NDF trading and why big banks depend on the same. There are banks who have NDF desk in Singapore, in Europe, in Luxembourg, in Frankfurt, and they are using a very powerful tool called NOP, Net Overnight Position. Some banks even use NOOP, Net Overnight Open Position, whereby one position by a non-deliverable desk, assuming unhedged, generally it never happens, but assuming unhedged, they will pass this position to the nearest NDF desk. And even if this nearest NDF desk not been able to hedge this for a moment, I assume he will pass this to the next desk. Henceforth, non-deliverable desks are very important nowadays. But it is highly unfortunate that even if you look at Google, there are limited number of books which are available as far as the non-deliverable desks are concerned. Very little text is available on the internet about non-deliverable, reference rate, fixing, pricing, valuation, mark to market, fair value impact. These all things not defined at most of the places as far as the this non-deliverable desk is concerned. Most importantly, before I move to part number 5, which is more important, which is special videos, which is I would be covering about treasury salespeople, treasury traders, option traders, and treasury management system in treasury desk. Many people feel that they are speaking to a trader. No, you never speak with trader directly. You speak with sales representative. It might be possible that the capability of sales representative is very huge. He or she may be able to answer most of your queries, but that doesn't mean you are dealing with a trader. Trader holds a different set of responsibilities as compared to the treasury salespeople. So in this part, which is part 5, special part, we would be talking the very first thing is the treasury salespeople, who are the first level of defense. And then we would be talking about treasury traders. Who are these traders? How they work? What specialized knowledge they are holding? Why they are considered as the most important people? How they manage their P&L? These are all things we would be covering in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that in most of the banks, we have specialized traders. One who is specialized in NDF, one who is specialized in vanilla option, one who is specialized in synthetic option, one who is specialized in IR structure, interest rate structure, one who is specialized in credit risk, one who is specialized in crosses. You have different people. Because at the end of the day, what the bank need is the specialization. Because it is based upon your specialization, your skill, which you earned over the period of the time, which determines whether you wish to hold that position or you wanted to quit that position. And that completely depends on the level of expertise and knowledge you are holding. Suppose today GBP is 1.21 and you feel that I got a position of a buy side at 1.21. Rather than creating a hedge position, let me keep it open. Because I feel that in another 15 to 20 days, GBP, which is 1.21, will touch 1.26, which means 5 big figure increase. And I'm having several million units in my hand, which means that if I get 5 big figure, then I would be making a very handsome profit for the banks. And of course, if I'm making a handsome profit for the bank, it's a common sense the bank would be rewarding me, which is called bonus, promotion, appraisals, salary increment, perks, emoluments, ESOPs, and all. But how can that possible? That can only possible because the trader needs to be a competent player to clearly see that GBP is 1.21 and based upon his knowledge, this is undervalued and very soon it would be reaching towards the valuation. And that's not easy. It looks easy, but not easy. Secondly, one thing which we would be touching is the TMS in Treasury desk. By TMS, I mean Treasury Management Systems. We have SAP, we have Oracle, who are ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, wonderful softwares. I used both in my life. I used SAP also, I used Oracle also. Both are wonderful softwares. But for banks, we have different kind of systems, which is called Treasury Management Systems. They are designed to handle the workflow of a treasury. They are designed accordingly. But ladies and gentlemen, there are many flip sides also. Valuation is an issue. Customization is an issue. New trades are an issue. MTM is an issue. Reclassification adjustment is an issue. uploading in OCI. Why OCI means other comprehensive income is an issue. Transition matrix is an issue. L2, there are many issues we have in treasury management system, and it's a duty of the corporate or the bank who is installing the treasury management system to install it very carefully. Probably you may need customization. You should go ahead with customization, but a very, very careful evaluation is required. To conclude, we are having 5 parts. Number 1, what is treasury function and how it works in a big bank? Part 1. Part 2, why treasury front office is considered as important as compared to middle office. In this part 2, what all covered in the front office. Part 3, what all instruments covered in the treasury function of a bank, especially top G7 banks, because G7 banks are standing on trillions of balance sheet, trillions of derivative books. One big figure here and there means a lot to them. Number 4, and very important, what is NDF trading, non-deliverable forward trading, and why big banks depend upon that. Here, like we already said, this is a beginner course. We will try to highlight the 2 important things. One is NOP, net overnight position, and one is NOOP, net overnight open position. And 5th and last, which I just explained to you. Our objective is very clear that once this course will launch, which is probably 1 month from now, we'll make sure that we will be able to launch this 1 month from now, considering our busy schedule. We would have one more course of this type, which would be advanced. Now, herein we would be focusing more on the instruments, their valuation, and one thing which we would be adding, which we not added in this course, which is treasury accounting. Because like I said many times in my YouTube videos, that treasury is one thing, accounting is another thing. Both are different. You can't say that treasury and accounting are same. No, even if a bank today is taking a forward contract, that level of accounting is mandatory in the books to show to the auditors, to show to the world that we have taken this forward contract from this bank. And then comes the mark-to-market accounting, IFRS, US GAAP, or whatever local GAAP you are up to. Henceforth, treasury accounting is a very important concept, but we not added treasury accounting in this course. We would be adding in our next course when we would be launching. One more thing which we'll focus in the next course is definitely how to be an EPS neutral. This is a very technical topic. I will try to cover this in my next course, how you can be EPS neutral, because that's really a very, very interesting topic. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You have my number 9899242978. If you wish to have any information about this course, you can visit the comment box of the YouTube videos, or you can personally WhatsApp me on this number.